Nula Nula Twala is the provost of the African Leadership University, an institution about which I write at length in the closing chapter of this book. I would describe him as a master of metaphors, some invented and some borrowed, and one of his favorites has stuck in my mind as I first conceived of and then composed the narrative that follows. You can't see the label from the inside of the bottle. I have, for nearly 5 decades, been living inside the bottle of what might be described as classic and privileged forms of American higher education. Through undergraduate and graduate school at research universities, through work as a faculty member, dean, and president at 3 residential liberal arts colleges, and finally, sort of as a president in residence and part-time visiting professor at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. There is an ironic twist to my post-presidential landing spot. The first job for which I was an unsuccessful finalist, though far from the last, was assistant professor of English, specialization in Victorian literature at Harvard. That rejection set me on a different, non-Ivied path that was, for me, much more fulfilling, though there is something peculiar about returning so much older, and I hope a little wiser, to the place where I first interviewed as a terrified graduate student. While I have not completely vacated the bottle of American higher education, I am certainly less enclosed within it than I have been since I traded my home on Long Island for U-Haul 3 on the Cornell University campus in Ithaca, New York in 1973. My position as at least quasi-external observer has allowed me to see and process things about which I didn't think too much, about which I didn't allow myself to think too much when I was in the classroom or an administrative office. During my 15 years as a faculty member, I would push back, hard, against anyone who questioned the practices and assumptions of the faculty. During my time as a chief academic officer, I tried my best to advocate both for the faculty and for the administration, and worried more about that balancing act than about higher education as a whole. And during my time as president of Macalester College, my job was to make the case before both internal and external audiences for the value and effectiveness of that particular institution and the liberal arts more broadly. During all those years, there were aspects of higher education about which I was troubled, and as a president especially, I spoke and wrote about some of these. But for the most part, those concerns were secondary to my focus on simply doing my job.